I am 100 years old, and I still wake up in my own home, not in a hospital bed, not in a nursing facility, not in a room filled with strangers and routines I didn't choose. I wake up in the same bedroom where I've watched sunlight fall across the walls for decades. I walk into the same kitchen where I've made my morning coffee for longer than most people have been alive. People like to call that luck. But it wasn't luck. And it wasn't because I was stronger than everyone else. It was because I made a decision long ago. I decided I would not let my life slowly shrink without noticing, because that's how it happens. Not all at once, not in some dramatic moment. It happens quietly. You start saying no to small things. You stay inside a little more often. You stop going places because it feels easier not to. You begin to rely on others for things you used to do without thinking. And you tell yourself it's temporary. You tell yourself you'll get back to living later. But later has a way of never coming. Most people think losing their independence happens suddenly. It doesn't. It happens one small surrender at a time. I watched it happen to people I loved. People who thought they had more time. People who believed their freedom was permanent. It wasn't. And when they realized it was slipping away, they didn't know how to get it back. So I made a promise to myself. Actually, I made 5 promises. 5 simple habits I would follow every single day. Habits that protected my independence. Habits that kept me here, in my home, in my life. The first habit was simple. I went outside every day, every single day. It didn't matter if I felt tired. It didn't matter if the weather wasn't perfect. It didn't matter if I had nowhere important to be. I went anyway. Because the moment you stop stepping outside is the moment your world begins to close in on you. At first, it feels harmless. You skip a walk because your legs ache. You stay inside because it's cold. You cancel plans because you're not in the mood. But those skipped days turn into skipped weeks. And those skipped weeks turn into a life lived entirely indoors. Your body weakens. Your confidence fades. And eventually, the outside world stops feeling like it belongs to you. I saw it happen to my neighbor, Helen. She used to walk to the market every morning. Then she started going less often. Then not at all. Within a few years, she wasn't living there anymore. Not because she wanted to leave, because she couldn't stay. So I made it my rule. If I can stand, I go outside. Even if it's only for 5 minutes. Even if it's only to feel the air and remind myself that I'm still part of the world. The second habit was just as important. I spoke to someone every day. A real conversation. A real voice. Not a message on a screen. not words typed into a machine, a real human moment, because silence is dangerous. After my husband passed away, the quiet in this house felt endless. No footsteps, no familiar voice calling my name, just stillness. And stillness can convince you that you've already been forgotten. It can make you believe you no longer matter, that your story is over. But I refused to let my voice disappear. So I spoke to people, the woman at the grocery store, the neighbor across the street, anyone. Because being heard reminds you that you still exist. Loneliness doesn't just hurt your heart. It weakens your entire being. And people don't lose their independence only because of illness. Sometimes they lose it because they disappeared from the world long before their body failed. The third habit was this: I kept making my own choices, even the small ones, especially the small ones. What I would eat, where I would go, how I would spend my time. Because the moment you stop deciding for yourself, someone else begins deciding for you. And once that happens, it's very hard to take your life back. I watched it happen to my brother. At first, people were helping him. Then they were managing him. And eventually, they were controlling everything. He stopped being the owner of his life. He became a responsibility, and he never returned home. I promised myself that would not be my story, even when it was inconvenient, even when it was difficult. I stayed in charge of my own life. The fourth habit was preparation. I didn't pretend I would stay strong forever. I knew better. Aging doesn't ask permission. It takes things slowly. Your balance, your strength, your memory. And if you ignore it, one day it takes your independence too. So I prepared. I made my home safer. I organized my life. I made plans for my future while I was still able to choose it. Not because I was giving up, because I was protecting myself. Preparation is not weakness. It is wisdom. And the fifth habit was purpose. I made sure I was still needed, not by everyone, just by someone. Because when you feel unnecessary, you begin to disappear. You stop trying. You stop caring. You stop living fully. Purpose gives you a reason to keep going. It gives you a reason to stay. I found small ways to matter. I helped others when I could. I stayed connected. And those small reasons became powerful ones. They gave my life weight. They gave it meaning. And meaning gives you strength no medicine can provide. Today, I am 100 years old. I still live in my home, not because I avoided aging, but because I refuse to surrender to it. Independence is not something you keep automatically. It is something you protect every single day, with small actions, small choices, small moments, one walk, one conversation, one decision, one plan, one reason to wake up. That's all it takes. And that is everything. Because the day you stop protecting your independence is the day it begins to leave you. So don't wait. Don't wait until it's almost gone. Protect it now, while it still belongs to you. Because freedom doesn't disappear in a moment. It disappears in the moments you think don't matter. And those moments are your life.